Unfortunately, society-wise, the way we grew up, the way we talk about money and in general has had us thinking that it's hard to make, or we've got to work our tail off to get it, or somebody else is more of a money magnet than we are, or they have something that we don't. There's so many stories around money. And it is our duty as somebody who wants to have a flourishing, growing business, who wants to help thousands of people, who wants to be able to bring people into their highest transformation for whatever it is you're wanting to support them with, that we want to be able to receive money. So the daily practice is the idea that not only are we understanding that we might have some blocks that are adding baggage, that are adding heaviness to the tasks that we want to do, that aligned action we want to take to make these 10K months happen, but also to know that we are ready to receive. Welcome to the Limitless podcast, the show where women entrepreneurs become radically aware of their limiting beliefs, learn to value their worth, generate wealth, and to thrive as a magnetic brand leader. I'm your host, Jamie Ratermann, a six-figure holistic business coach. I've helped over 100 rebellious entrepreneurs master marketing, embody leadership, and say fuck it to the hustle. Let's dive in. Hello, lovelies. Welcome to another episode of the Limitless podcast. If you clicked play, you know that we today are going to talk about what it really takes to hit that 10K month mark, to really hit that milestone and feel really good about it. Now, I know that this is kind of a buzzword, a buzz amount that we see all over the internet. So I kind of want to preface this to talk about why 10K? Why is 10K this thing that really feels good for us? So for many entrepreneurs, you walk into wanting to build a business and there's a sense of, how can I make sure this is sustainable, that this is worth me doing this other than taking a job working for somebody else? But ultimately, what my goal is, and I want to help. I set a goal that I want to help 1,000 entrepreneurs between now and next year, and that is the idea here is that I want you to be able to feel more fulfilled in your life. I want you to be able to go after your passions. Really think about how the more you can put yourself out there, the more you can see yourself as this business owner, you can transform lives. And the 10K amount not only usually is going to help people to like live comfortably, pay the bills, and then some in their lives, but also to allow your business to grow. It's a really good metric to understand that things are working and have the ability to keep moving. So with that in mind, I wanted to be able to use all of my one-on-one and my group coaching clients who have hit this mark, who've hit consistent income every month, so that I can give you a bit of a blueprint. So I went ahead and I created the 10K quiz. So the 10K quiz is going to be exactly what we're talking about today, but it is the ability for you to get a good scorecard of what common pieces that people have in their business that allow them to hit this goal with ease, and where you might want to either strengthen or maybe where there's some weak points, but understanding that if we can take a good look at your scorecard, if we want those 10K months, you may be closer than you realize, or you may just have one key area that you're going to need to adjust and upgrade to get in that process. Now, of course, with the quiz, I want to just preface this that this is exactly what I'm helping my clients with in Money Mastery Academy, to make sure we have all of those things on the scorecard so that you're making that easier money, so that you get to enjoy this life. So before we dive in today, this is why 10K is helpful, but also you may be closer than you realize. So let's fully dive into the episode and talk about what are some of the common characteristics for my clients and in general for businesses who are making this 10K mark and who are able to grow their businesses. So let's talk about it. So pillar number one, or the first main characteristic for somebody who's making 10K every single month, I want to be very clear, consistently bringing in those five-figure months, is that they know exactly who they help and how to speak to them. Now, you've heard me talk about this a couple of times: niche, target audience, however you want to characterize it. But the idea here is that you have decided who you help. You have decided how you help, and you are able to proclaim who they are. So part of the understanding of a target audience is that you know who you're for and you know who you aren't for. So before I even get into the specifics here, is that I want you to repel people. I want you to have that level of precision where you are going to target somebody that is absolutely right for you. That's going to be you want to magnetize entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, healers, yoga teachers, people in the fitness health space, people with acne, people who don't know what to do in the kitchen. Like you want to be as specific as possible because that is going to be like a beacon. You're going to call out to them. They're going to know that you are for them. And the reason why it's important to know that is that we don't want to be for everyone. One, it's a lot of wasted energy for you as a solopreneur or a small business owner, but it's also going to have someone like kind of turn their ears off. So the goal with this first one here, knowing who you help and what they're about, you want to make sure that you have somebody in mind. You want to be as specific as possible. So this is built on conversations. So this isn't built on what you think the behavior is. This is built on having these true conversations with people who seek you out. So a really great way to start with understanding who your ideal client is to think about what are the common questions that you're consistently asked? What kind of conversations do you end up being in with your level of expertise? So that's a good place to start, but then I want you to take it a step further. So if we're going to build on this, we want to make sure we're having regular conversations. We want to do some deeper research. So knowing who you help can be anywhere from asking poll questions in your Instagram stories, to doing some book reviews. Like you know, Amazon book reviews is a really good place to begin. But having this blanket and then going out and doing some market research. So having a direct conversation going, if I would create an offer with this, what would be supportive to you? So having that interview can be really helpful. So the goal here is if you want to know who you help, you need to understand exactly what their wants are, their needs, of course, to get there, but ultimately, what are the common blocks that continuously prevent them from reaching the person they want to become, the goals they want to hit, everywhere in between. The closer you can get to being the person who speaks their language, the better it's going to be. So whenever I've had clients who were having messaging problems, like in particular, they were like, I'm not attracting the right clients. Once we applied some of my messaging models the way they spoke online, the way they did their sales pitches, they're one of the best responses that they would regularly get is like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for, or you're speaking directly to me. So this level of research is going to be something that profoundly supports you hitting those income goals that you're looking for. Second characteristic of a brand is that they have high brand recognition. Now, brand recognition can come in three different ways. One, you need to define your unique approach. So there is always going to be, let's say, saturation. There's going to be other people doing the same things you are, but being able to understand what you're for and what you're against and proclaiming that loud and proud is really important here. So one, you want to develop your unique approach as a brand. You want to decide what your brand is. Now, brand marketing, deciding what your brand is, comes in different facets, let's say. The idea here is that you want to have your brand have a feeling for people. You want to make sure that you represent a certain emotional attachment, a certain feeling for someone who engages with you on a regular basis. Something like, oh, they always activate me, or oh, they always make it feel simpler for me, or I always have just been enjoying like their natural look and feel. So you listen to this podcast and you know that I want you to feel good in your skin. I want you to love yourself as the leader, but also I want to give you the facts, the systems, the things that are going to support you to continue to expand, to be limitless. Now, I talk this way, but you're going to find other podcasters that are going to be talking, you know, about pushing yourself, about the challenge, about hustle culture, and people, and you may love that. You may also find my woo-woo sisters talking about feeling into your feelings and reflecting. So I realize that I find myself that as a brand, I represent the hybrid. I want you to be healthy, and I want you to realize that structure and systems support you. So that is something that I build in not only with how I speak to you in my voice, my subjects that I talk about, but also my branding, what you see in me. So whenever we're talking about branding, being recognizable, it's like really defining how you want people to feel when they interact with you. So the second piece here, you have your own unique approach, what you're for, what you're against. You've defined what your brand is, and you show it. The last piece of this, which is your authority. Now, authority is owning that you are the expert. And this is something that is definitely a block that comes up with some of my clients where they feel like there are other experts. They're not as big of an expert as somebody else. Now, one hurdle I want you to get over here is that if you are 2 steps, 2 chapters ahead of somebody that wants the same things that you've been building, you are going to be of service to them. So, for instance, I have a client of mine who is a plant store owner, and she can absolutely grow plants of any species. She can bring some of them back to life. She can do all of these things. And me over here as someone who could be her potential ideal client kills her plants all the time. And I would love to learn more. I'd love to be able to be better at those things. So, of course, there's tons of plant carers in the universe, but her particular blend of how she does it, the way in which she does it, but also that she is 20 steps ahead of me. I know that I can seek her out as that expert. But the big thing here is that when you are deciding to be the authority, you have to own it. You have to own that you know something that there's a portion of the population that does not know. And within that, you want to make it easily understandable so someone can trust that you're going to get them to where they need to go. So when we're talking about authority, this is where you want to own your methods. And I talked about this in the offer episode as well. But the main thing I really want to get across here is that when you want to be a recognizable brand, you want to have 3 particular things. You want to define your unique approach. You want to know what you represent as a brand. How would you like people to feel when they interact? And you want to own your authority to truly bring these ideal clients to the outcome that they're looking for. So reaching that desired outcome if they decide to invest their money with you. So we're first 2 characters out of the way. So those are big ones and they affect the rest of them because the next one I want to talk to you about is for you to make 10K, you need to be visible. It's just what it is. The more that we get to interact with you, the more we know who you are, the better it is. So consistency in your content and you've built a trust building environment around your brand. So this is something that I love to talk about, but the idea is that we really are not able to control how many sales we get, but we are able to influence how many we get. So the more that we can put invitations out there in our content, the more that we can be on platforms that support us, the more that we can in general give these opportunities for people to say, I like this brand. Let me spend time with them. Let me binge their content. Let me subscribe to their email list. Let me see what they have to say about this common thing that I keep running up against. If we give them that many outlets, the likelihood that we are going to have that flourishing business that we want, it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. Visibility in general is a part of over 70% of the reason why people make buying decisions. So if they know about you, aka they've seen you somewhere, they're going to be more likely to buy from you than if they haven't seen you in a long time. So this is where building consistency is important. So the background of this is, like I said, we're doing these little invitations, but for you as a solopreneur or a small business owner, is to think about, have you built a process that allows you to not only show up often, but to show up with more ease? So this is something that, I built a whole launch calendar for my Money Mastery Academy clients so that they can get the gist of what it feels like to put themselves out there, but also to what it looks like to just be in people's feeds, in people's inboxes on a regular basis. So this is where part of this is the practice of truly getting yourself out there. So check in. How consistent have you been? Do you need help support kind of getting to where that needs to go? Next piece is a diversified offer suite that does not depend solely on one-on-one experiences. If you want to be a scalable business, you cannot trade time for money. I'm going to say it again. If you want to be a scalable business, you cannot only trade time for money. So this goes for any particular any particular business across the board, but the idea of being scalable and getting weekly sales is that you're able to facilitate that level. Now, whenever, like in general, whenever somebody talks about 10K months with me, they'll be like, oh, I have to sell, two, maybe three of my one-on-one spots, and then I'll do that. And my follow-up question is going, oh, so you're going to do it again next month and again the following month. That you're going to continuously have to like fill your one-on-ones every single month versus having the ability to continue to replenish, to continue to sell on a daily basis into programs that you don't always have to be giving so much of your time to. So when you want to think about this now, you want to build out these methods. Now, I share in my other episode about how an offer suite, a really strong magnetic offer suite, has clarity offers, signature offers, and expansion offers. You can look a little more deeply into that, but the main thing is you want to be able to give opportunities where they can follow your methods without having to have such high touch, so that you can keep those one-on-ones, those high touch scenarios for a very special case, but also be able to make a bigger impact for having higher volume when it comes to your programs. Now, this goes for services and products alike. So if you are a product-based business, you want to think about how can you have maybe another offer that doesn't have as much high, like it doesn't have as high of an expense margin. So being able to have something that not only supports the products you're making, but helps clients maybe use it on a regular basis. I use examples like skincare brands, like absolutely having what's the best routines to clear up problems, certain skin problems is such a great opportunity. I even to the plant store owner that I mentioned, like having a course of like how to take care of your plants, like very simple things can not only support and give more revenue streams for you, but also on the flip side. But for all of my service providers, please listen to that episode. It's going to help you to think about what does a truly magnetic offer suite look like. But main thing is, if you want to have consistent cash flow every single month, 10K months, we want to make sure we diversify our offer suite. I help you absolutely build this in Money Mastery Academy. Part of the reason why I stretch this program out to be 6 months is that we get to look really deep at the way in which you want to offer, what you're building, how in general you see the scalability and the growth happening next. So if you are looking at like what your offers are now and how you want to optimize them, really want you to consider that. But also, if you're not even knowing where to start, this is absolutely a really great place for you. All right, we've gotten through some really big ones here. We know who we're talking to, and we know how they speak about it. We have a really recognizable brand. We're consistently being visible. We're being seen by the people who need us, and we've been able to build an offer suite that we can actually facilitate and have a consistent cash flow. Those are really big dominoes to being able to hit those 10K months on a regular basis. The next couple are just as important, but they're building off of the first four. So next one I have here is that we want to be able to share our energy and our vibe in real time. So the reason why stuff like master classes, stuff like Instagram lives, your stories, even networking is such a fast track to getting somebody from considering you to saying yes, is that we want to feel like we are buying from friends or from people that we can relate to. And the quickest way to do that is to really lean into feeling into their energy. So this is also why I love to encourage like talking in your stories to get started, but going live, doing master classes, having these live Q&As really can allow someone to kind of check if you would mesh. Like, when you walk into a party and there are people that you are like really able to hit it off with really well, and you just decide that you want to gravitate a little bit closer to them for the night versus somebody else who like you just don't have the same interests. You don't have the same vibe and the way you do things. This is what's important. I love to always use this as an example, but I have absolutely gotten clients in my Instagram stories talking about my ridiculous love of SpongeBob and how I can quote the first three seasons. And that's the same thing that goes for the way in which I might throw up a blooper reel, or maybe the way I talk about a scenario that happened to me in that day. This energy, this vibe is definitely a part of that idea of the frequency of like, do people relate to you? Do people feel like you're the right vibe for them? Sharing your energy in real time is going to be a big deal. So networking, stories, lives, all of this, aside from the content, can be a really strong way for someone to go, ooh, this is correct for me. So being able to show up in that way is really powerful. The next one is us taking a next higher step than just posting every day. It's so whenever we are thinking about, okay, I've built an audience, I want to make sure that I am very clear in the way in which I sell and the way in which I support people. So one thing to note is that a lot of people get stuck in the fact that they're like, oh, I'm posting every day. Shouldn't that be enough that I can now sell? I'm posting every day. And then while I will tell you visibility is absolutely the most essential step to getting yourself out there and to be recognized as a brand, the next step is to be able to be really clear. So in general, like the rule of thumb, when someone is talking to me about, okay, how would I market? How do I message myself properly for someone to consider working with me? The number one thing I'm going to say is that make sure you're so damn clear. Like you got to be so clear. Because if you're confused as you're speaking about your offer, so are they listening to it. So if you're confused, they're confused. If you're clear, they're clear. So this is what it comes down to. I have what I build in Money Mastery Academy is my offer messaging matrix. And this is where we really boil down what people can look forward to, how people would be excited to jump into an offer, into three essential pillars, and we do that together. But the meaning behind it is to be as clear as possible whenever we are selling, whenever somebody is even considering wanting to work with us. This is where we begin. So the clarity, magnetism behind not only your messaging, but your selling strategy is something you want to define and something you want to hit on a regular basis. So if right now you're feeling a bit of the ick around sales, this might be an area you want to strengthen. If right now you kind of feel like you jump around and you pitch different stories about the same offer, this might be the one we want to strengthen as well. But the goal here is that we want to take a step above. We're not just creating content. We are really leaning into how we want people to find us, how we want people to feel when they're considering buying from us. That is that clarity and magnetism behind your selling strategy and your messaging. All right, last two are my favorite two because they really get to be the most powerful in a lot of ways. We want to build a daily practice of around money mindset. So, unfortunately, society-wise, the way we grew up, the way we talk about money and in general has had us thinking that it's hard to make, or we've got to work our tail off to get it, or somebody else is more of a money magnet than we are, or they have something that we don't. There's so many stories around money. And it is our duty as somebody who wants to have a flourishing, growing business, who wants to help thousands of people, who wants to be able to bring people into their highest transformation for whatever it is you're wanting to support them with, that we want to be able to receive money. So the daily practice is the idea that not only are we understanding that we might have some blocks that are adding baggage, that are adding heaviness to the tasks that we want to do, that aligned action we want to take to make these 10K months happen, but also to know that we are ready to receive. So something I like to do with my clients is what I call thank you, it's true. And this is where I to do a practice of seeing if you can receive a compliment. So what we'll do is we'll go around the room and I'll say like tell them two things that you've noticed about them that you really appreciate. And they gotta sit there and listen to people compliment them. Compliment things that they like about them. It's not placating them, it's truly giving them what we feel and what we've noticed about their character, and just to see what happens when we do that. If somebody gives you a compliment and you say, thank you, it's true, and it doesn't feel hard for you to take that compliment or to say thank you, you're already a step above. You're already in a good place. But if you find yourself going, oh, I hate when some people compliment, I hate when I'm receiving something good coming towards me, understand that this could be a clue in what needs to happen to hit those money goals. Because we want to be able to create our security, abundance, safety within ourselves so that we can receive more of it from the outside world. And that's what a money mindset practice is. So this has been so essential to my clients that I have built it into every single module of Money Mastery Academy. But the reason of it is that if we want to truly shift our limiting beliefs, if we want to truly shift and rewrite our story, it comes from building a daily practice of one, being aware of what's blocking us, getting our nervous system aligned to a new belief, and creating action that turns into evidence that we get to be that person that we've rewritten. The daily practice of this is what makes this happen faster. It's what makes quantum leaps more possible. It's what makes taking risks and trusting ourselves more possible. So building a daily money mindset practice is really supportive here. Last but not least, a characteristic here that I really want to get out there is that you share your business and your offers loud and often. So you share what you do and how you help often. A really great rule of thumb when it comes to marketing, when it comes to growing, is that you do not shut up about your offers. The idea that like, oh, I posted yesterday, so I can't talk about it again today, or like, oh, they like, I don't want to sound too salesy, too businessy, too this or that. These are blocks, again, that we want to release. But according to data, we are going to forget the amount of times that I am selling something and then I see a friend who I know engages with my stories in my emails, all of the above, and I say to them, like, I say, oh my gosh, I'm really excited about this launch. They're like, you're launching something? If we want people to know that something is happening, if we want people to know who we are, there's a repetition to it. There's a redundancy that's going to feel redundant to us, but not to somebody else. So having the courage to share and share often and share loud about what we're doing, why we're excited in our business, that's the thing that we do not want to shut up about. So if you are wanting to take a look at how well you're set up to make 10K months consistently, I got a quiz for you. Calling it the 10K quiz. It's essentially going to help you and ask questions in each of these areas to make sure that, okay, where am I really strong? Where do I have room for growth? So you can have a bit of a scorecard if not only to know where you want to focus your energy in the next month, or if you truly want to get that support, you can come on in to Money Mastery Academy because we are building all of these things together. So just a quick reminder of what that is. You want to know exactly who you help and how they speak about the trouble that they're having. You want to build brand recognition through your authority, through what you're representing, and your unique approach to solving those problems. You want to have consistency in your visibility and showing up. You want to have a diversified offer suite that is not solely dependent on one-on-one experiences. You want to be able to share your energy so that you have that invitation for people to get to know you. Strong clarity in your messaging, having a regular money mindset practice so that you can truly be ready to receive. And last but not least, sharing loud and proud about what you do. All of this is going to be in the show notes. Let me know if you decide to take the quiz and what area that you are your strongest in. I would love to hear it. Come over on Instagram and say hi to me at Jamie Ratermann, JamieRatermann, and let me know how you liked the 10K quiz. I think you're going to love it. I built it so it's so supportive to you. So until then, live a little more limitless.